Hey team, on today's episode of the Football Feast, I've got Abdul Sesay. Abdul's family moved from Sierra Leone to Australia when he was just 10 years old. Since then, he's played for many top clubs in the WA NPL. At 17, he signed a pro contract over in Serbia and gives us a really good insight into what that was like and the challenges that he faced. Some of the key topics that we discussed today were the cost of playing in Australia and how difficult that is for some families, what it's like for a player to move overseas, the difficulties when you're not making the team, the upcoming Premier League season, potentially who's the best manager of all time. We also talked about Africans playing for different countries. Hope you really enjoyed today's episode.
Hi guys, this is the 5th episode of the Football Feast. I'm here with Abdul Sesay. Thanks for joining us, Abdul.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me.
So, where did it all start for you?
In football, man, I've been playing football for as long as I can remember, since I was a kid back home in Africa. In Africa, obviously, it's the number one sport. It seems to be the only sport, really. Yeah, I've been playing street football before I got into organized football, so my whole life, really.
Wow, so whereabouts in Africa are you from?
Sierra Leone, West Africa, so on the coast, yeah. Moved over here in 2003. We moved over. Yeah, but I've been playing football, like I said, since I was maybe 4, from the time I can remember. Yeah,
Yeah. So, how old were you when you moved over here?
I was 10 years. Yeah, I was 10-year-old. Yeah, when we moved over.
Yeah. So that would have been pretty hard for you guys and your family, and a big change. And
Yeah, it is definitely. Yeah, I mean, as a kid, you the only thing you really notice is probably just having to make new friends. But luckily for me, I've never really had an issue making new friends, especially when you play like sport and football in general. You make new friends there pretty quickly. But yeah, it's still a massive change coming from Africa to Australia. It's a huge change.
yeah, about like the cultural changes and sort of like the food and like you said, making friends and stuff like that.
100%. Weather, environment, a whole lot.
Yeah. I suppose that's the beauty of, like you said, with football, you can play that sport and it's easty to find friends.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, when we moved over, straight away, yeah, started playing local football, park football, and community football, and made heaps of friends there. So adaptation wasn't too hard for me, luckily. So yeah, thanks for football.
Yeah, cool. Um, all right, so yeah, you guys moved over here and then sort of started playing community football and stuff. And then where did you sort of take off? Like, what club did you sort of get into?
So when I first moved over for the first year, I probably didn't play. I was just playing like local community football, and then the first club that I went to on trials, we were staying in Balga back then, and I had a friend of mine. He played at Swan IC, so I went and did trials with the Swans under 12 team, and yeah, I got in. But the problem was my mother couldn't drop me off because it was just too far of a drive to me for her to be able to drop me off every Wednesday and Friday. And so I came back to local community football. So I didn't really start getting into club football till about age of 14 when I joined up with Inglewood United.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Wow, that's cool.
yeah.
Um, yeah. At least your mum tried.
Oh, yeah,
that would
definitely.
be hard
She's
for her.
very supportive. I mean, it's not just me. If it was just if I was an only child, maybe it would have been easier. But I've got my little sister as well, which she concentrates more on, and fair enough too, because she needs more time and effort to be focused on her than me. So football was just like when I ended up moving to Inglewood, I was so fortunate. The coach used to pick me up and drop me off. So luckily for me, my mother didn't need to stress to be able to get me to and from games and training. So I was very fortunate in that case.
Yeah, wow. It sounds like the community at Inglewood is quite a good community and
Yeah,
helpful, and
definitely.
looks after the players there.
100%. Yeah, played Inglewood juniors for a few years. Then I left, and then I went and played Bayswater under 18s, and then but when and then I ended up coming back to Inglewood first team. I played most of my senior football at Inglewood actually. Um, yeah, the Inglewood community, the family there, they were great. From the coaches, the parents, the committee, everyone's really helpful. Everyone's good. Yeah, it's a real tight knit bunch of people there. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's really cool. Um, So what sort of like some best moments or best achievements in your footballing career?
In club wise, I'll say under 15s. I got into the state team. Well, I didn't make it all the way. We made it to. There's a list called standby list. Unfortunately, for me here, I'm gonna have to say this, but what that list is pretty much like you're good enough to make it, but it's for players. And my financial situation back then, because my mom was an only parent, and the fees back then was like $2,500. It wasn't yet to be able to make the state team, and
Wow.
yeah, so that wasn't something that I could afford. So if it was based on technicality or football attributes, then I was good enough to be in the state teams. But the financial side of it too was something that I couldn't pay and be able to afford. So you'd make the standby team, and if anyone from the first 15 or 16 was to drop out, I think there's about two of us that used to get on standby. Yeah, and yeah, but I never really made it to the actual final team because I couldn't afford the money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
simple as that. Yeah.
That's quite interesting because that's talked a lot about in Australia about like the prices of fees and
Oh,
how we like price out players and up and coming talent, and there's a lot of good players that miss out,
a lot.
and it's a criminal
It
really.
is.
Like really we want to be getting the best of the best, and we want to get them as far as possible and
100%.
helping them nurture them and
For
grow.
sure, for sure. Like yeah, like it's football is ridiculously expensive. Oh, it's crazy. Like I'm talking about this is 14 years ago. It
Yeah,
was 2.5 grand then. Imagine what it would be now. I mean, I know club levels to play juniors in the NPL now. There are player parents that say if you've got one or say you got two kids and you have to pay $1,200, $1,500 for every child. You know,
yeah. My son's $1,300 a year.
wow, that's it. That's what I
Yeah,
mean. That like for what though? You know what I mean?
yeah, and see, there's that, and then they love doing the camps. So you
Mm.
get like Real Madrid over
Yeah,
and West Ham and different
yeah.
camps like that.
Mm.
And my son's like, "Oh, Dad, I really want to do that." So there's another
Oh,
500, another
600. Yeah,
1,000. There's
yeah.
another, yeah, like racks up pretty quick, man.
It's very expensive. It's an expensive hobby over here in Australia. Very expensive, actually.
Yeah, definitely pricing ourselves out of some good talent. That's for sure.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
You find a lot of the, like nowadays, a lot of the Division 1 teams are actually getting the better juniors,
Oh,
where it should be the other way around. You'd want like the NPL sides getting the juniors and pushing through that talent.
yeah,
But if you're charging, like you'll say, 1,300, I know a lot of people that can't afford that. If you've got two, three kids,
yep,
let's be honest, you're not going to be able to pay 4.5 grand a year for just your kids to go play football.
yeah. That's right.
It's not a really good setup.
Yeah, and there's like academies as well.
Mm,
Like
mm.
yeah, like my sister's children, like they've got the club, then they've got the academies, then they've got the camps, and then they make like say if you do well in the camps, you then go to the
Good
Gold Coast
trials,
or
yeah.
whatever, and
Oh
there's
man,
another cost, and it really does add up
very
rapidly.
expensive. Very.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you did mention something about Montenegro.
Yeah, yeah. So how that came about was so when I left Inglewood, I ended up going to football. I went to Bayswater and I played Bayswater under 18s and Bayswater reserves. I think I was 16 and 17, and I'll be at Bayswater. We won the league both year actually under 18s and the reserves. But then I was only 17 and I was very eager to. I always wanted to play. You know how it is. Like when you're young, you're just wishing to always play, and you just can't take no for an answer. I had a coach
So you
who.
just jumped on a flight to
No,
Montenegro.
no, no, no. Well, I wish no. That's not how it worked out. So at Bayswater, I was playing second team, like the reserve side. I was only 17, and then I was playing the reserves, which was back then it was the under 23s, but I was still doing good enough, and I knew I was good enough to play first team, but it just wasn't going to be a Bayswater because Bayswater was challenging for the league back then those days.
Mm,
So I ended up having a chat to my coach at the Bayswater reserve, and he said to me, Abdul, look, if he was very honest with me, he said the best way for me to play first team would be for me to drop down a division and gain first team experience there. So I ended up leaving Bayswater and then going to a club called Dinala White Eagles. They're still in Division 1 now. It's a Serbian club,
right.
massive supporters base. And it was a Dinala White Eagles that I was at. I had a very good season. Yeah, I can't remember how many goals I scored, but an assist, but I was doing really good. And it was that then opportunity came about. Not a scout, but there was a guy there who was involved with the club, and he had a mate of his over in Montenegro that was a scout. So they did a little bit of like, I think it was like a 5 minute video they put together of all my highlights and whatnot. And yeah, he ended up sending me over, called me over to go over there and give it a shot. I went over and I had a trial for a club called FK Mladost. I ended up getting a 2 year contract. But yeah, that wasn't really, in terms of football, it was a great experience, a great eye opener. But I didn't end up spending the whole 2 years there. I was there for a season. And then I ended up moving back to Australia.
So if you don't mind, what was the reason for coming back?
To be honest, like, so when I got over there, the adaptation, I found out that to adapt, it was really difficult because it was a different country, which I wasn't too fussed about because obviously I've moved from Africa to Australia, so I had that experience. But over there, the language barrier, like coming from where I'm from in Sierra Leone to Australia, because I understand English from a young age, so moving over here wasn't really that hard for me. I mean, it's different in culture, but at least the language was the same. But over there, having to learn to speak their language, I never really communicated well. I could never get my point across well. And in the football term, like football wise as well, I wasn't playing the amount of games that like I said, when I was 17, all I ever wanted to do was to play. And when I went from the level that I was at in Australia to the level over there, it's another step up, maybe 2 steps up. So I found myself the first 3 months I was there, I wasn't even making the bench.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
I wasn't even making. I was training. We were training twice a day, doing pre-seasons all around the place. But I wasn't playing, and the coach there really liked my talent. You can tell because he used to have meetings with me. He could see I was agitated, really wanted to play, and he told me to just bide my time. He goes, "Bide your time will come." So I think it wasn't until about after I think it was about 7, 8 games that I finally made the bench. And when I made the bench, I didn't play for a few more games, and then about 10 games into the season before I started getting like 5, 10 minute cameos here and there. So yeah, I mean, I didn't really have a lot of patience when I was young, and after about I think halfway through the season, before I finally made my actual full debut, and even that didn't last long. I think it lasted 1, 2 games, and then I was back on the bench because there was a player injured, a senior player. So yeah, all that frustration just brewed up on me. I was like, nah. Then I decided to have a chat to the club, and I told them, look, I don't think this is the best environment for me in terms of development wise because I really always wanted to play. It's all good and well in training. I mean, the standards of training were high. Training twice a day. It was a professional club, like I say. They gave me everything I needed. Great club, looked after me really well. Apartment, everything that I needed. They're always willing to help. But it was just more me that I didn't have the patience to really just train and not play. I always wanted to play because I was always used to playing. So after a season, then I spoke to them, and then yeah, the contract got terminated. The second year of the contract got terminated, and then I ended up moving back to Australia,
Yeah.
and then I moved to Inglewood. That's when my Inglewood first team junior career started. Well, yeah, made the move from Montenegro, moved over to Inglewood United, and back then the coach was Graham Normanton. He was a great guy. I still see Graham every now and again when I go to watch game. Loves football. People who watch WA football will know who he is. He's an absolute legend.
Yep.
Legend of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. That's wow, man, what an experience.
It is, man.
Honestly, like hearing your like frustration about going over to a different country again, and you're getting there and everyone not being able to speak the same language. What language do they speak there? Serbian,
yeah,
right?
Serbs, yeah.
Right. So they're all speaking Serbian, and I can imagine that'd be really difficult to sort of make friends, even.
Well, you know what? In football, like it's funny how football is a universal language. Like we all understood each other, like without even having to say a word. Like if we're playing, we had the idea. And training. Don't get me wrong, trainings were great.
Yeah,
fantastic. Had a great time. It's just when
games off the pitch.
Yeah, off the pitch. Like when the boys, they always try to like hang out with you, take you out, go to cafes, we go to restaurants, we'll go for walks in the city, go for coffee here and there. Go sightseeing. But all that it's still just it just doesn't. You still feel like you're going through a process that is not natural. Like you just don't fit in as much as like, especially when I was here in Australia, I could just get up in the morning and just shoot off to my mate's house. Over there, I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I have to wait in my apartment until someone comes and get me, and then we go out. So yeah, it's very challenging mentally.
Oh, so you didn't have like transport there? It's because you didn't drive.
No, I was young. I was only 17 when I went there, so I wasn't driving. But the club gave us money for like taxi fares, and it's pretty cheap over there. Like, so I could get around. It's just that getting around wasn't the issue. It's I'm not someone that's going to go out on my own and go sit there, especially when I don't know the language. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I had to wait in the apartments till somebody from the club is free and come and pick me up. But yeah, I mean, I did it for a year. It was a great experience. Different,
Yeah.
very
Dude,
different.
that's a really good insight because
Mm,
I think like I've got young nephews and stuff, and
yeah,
they've got big dreams
yeah,
of playing overseas and
yeah.
abroad. But like hearing that kind of thing really does need to be put into
Mm-hmm,
perspective, and like
mm-hmm.
a lot of players probably wouldn't think of
No, a
that,
lot of
right?
yeah, you don't get prepared for it. It's not like you go through an orientation that prepares you for stuff like that. It's
Mm,
just thrown at you. And the hardest part, the biggest challenge is when you go to a country where you don't speak the same language. To me, that was the biggest barrier, like the biggest barrier I found, like that language barrier, because you find you can't really communicate your point across.
yeah.
And when you're out and about, you're just silent the whole time. And I mean, they didn't really speak the best of English, so communication was really difficult.
Yeah, and like you said, like you've got all that going on, and then you're not even playing.
Oh
So
man,
like that's like
it just
super
yeah,
frustrating.
very yeah. That just tips you over
Mm,
when you're because in football, one thing I got taught from a young age, your life outside of football affects how you perform in the game. So if
yeah,
you're not happy
100%.
outside of football, you tend to see the frustration brewing into your game, and yeah, I found that out for myself. So yeah, it was difficult, but an experience nonetheless, and it was a great one. You know, one that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. Yeah,
Absolutely, man.
yeah,
That's yeah, good on you for doing that
no, for
because,
sure.
like you said, like it's such an experience, and a lot of people don't have the balls to even
A
try
lot of
something like that.
a lot of people wouldn't leave the comfort of their environment to go all the way over. Not even just Europe, Eastern Europe. If anyone's been over there, it is totally different to the rest of the world.
Yeah,
Very different.
yeah, man. I'm just imagining like that first day, sort of like you've gotten out of a plane in this country where you can't speak the language, and
No.
did someone pick you up
Yeah,
or?
yeah. So my manager, name was Barto. Barto picked me up from the airport, took me to my hotel, and the first 2 days he was picking me up, showed me where I can eat. He gave me some money just to be able to make it through, and he used to pick me up to
And
go.
you were by yourself, weren't you?
Yeah, by myself.
At 17?
Yeah, at 17.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was by myself. I was 17, turning 18 back then, and yeah, he picked me up from the airport and took me to my hotel.
What
Told
was
me
your family like with this? They were like, see ya,
well, like
have fun.
when I spoke to my mom, my mom is very cautious. My mom is not like she used to just say to me, "Are you sure? Is this something you want to do? I know you love football. Are you prepared for it mentally? Do you know what you're getting yourself into?" I said to her, "Well, there's only the only way I'm really gonna find out is by going. You know, I can say yes here all I want or no all I want, but I
Mm.
haven't been through this kind of experience before, so I had to go out and get it." So yeah, I was talking to my mom back then. Yeah, I used to Skype my mom every single day to explain to her how training went. She would check up on me, like sometimes call me 5, 6 times a day. So you know, mothers are very, very protective and very.
Sounds like a good mother.
Oh, she is. Yeah, yeah. My mom's my hero for sure. hundred
Yeah,
percent,
nice man.
100%.
Wow. So playing level over there, two levels up.
Yeah,
So
from not that like over there, the very best team. From when I went over there, the team I went and played for. They were they compete in the Montenegrin State Premier League, but they weren't challenging for the title. You see, so they were going through a process of getting the best young players, training them up, and moving them on for a
a fee,
profit. Yeah,
yeah.
and there was a player that played for Manchester City. His name was Luka Jovetic. He's the best
Oh
player.
wow, you play
Yeah.
with Luka
No,
Jovetic?
no, no. I didn't play
Oh
with him. No, no. He was the best player to have ever come out of that academy. So yeah, yeah. They've
wow.
got his mural is all over the place there. So he's the legend over there. But yeah, that was what they were doing at that time, and they were just moving players on because that's the only way they survive. The sponsorship is not really that big, so the only way they really make money is training players up, either moving them on to Italian leagues or the German leagues,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's how they stay afloat.
That
And
seems to be sort of the A League model they're heading down that track, aren't they?
it's seeming that way. A lot of the players nowadays are moving overseas. You know,
Yep.
a lot of the good players, but it's good. I mean, in terms of like I don't think in Australia here we've got the facility or the capabilities right now to attract and keep the best young players at this time. And it's probably not the best for their development anyway.
Yeah. So those facilities that you went to are different than ours?
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, they're professional setups. I mean, we're training twice a day. Over here, you're training twice a week.
Yeah.
So you can already imagine like the levels up you go when you're training twice a day. You're doing, we're spending every week, we're spending 1 hour, 2 hours on just tactical setups and shapes and off the ball sort of movements and whatnot. So
Yeah.
they're spending more time training off the ball than we would train here during the whole week.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
the facilities are great. Your recovery sessions, everything they're professionally done. We got chefs. We got. They had a restaurant. In case you never wanted to eat at the club, we had a restaurant in the city that we could go to eat free of charge. Everything. Yeah, the setup is fantastic. Everything is great. Over there. That's not. It's not a hobby over there. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very professional setups there.
Absolutely. That's interesting because I'm from Adelaide and we've just had a player go from Adelaide United to Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
So Nestor Irankunda, I'm not sure if you're
Yeah,
familiar
I've
with
seen
him.
him. Yeah, I've seen him. I watch a lot of his games. Yeah, very good
Yeah.
player.
So it's pretty interesting. Like he'd be going through a similar experience to you
Yeah.
at the moment, but yeah, honestly, for us, like the general power of that kid
Oh,
is
man.
absolutely outrageous.
He's on. Yeah, I really have high hopes and expectations from him. I pray he makes it through. He looks very promising talent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
over-
he started their academy this season
okay.
and he scored goals in all their games.
Yeah,
And he's played for Bayern Munich's
Yeah.
friendlies. He even played yesterday against Tottenham.
Oh, okay. Oh, he played. They had a game yesterday. Yeah,
Yeah, he
nice,
played against
nice.
Tottenham, so he seems to be pushing pretty far, and he nearly scored, I think.
That's good. He's hungry and he's like, yeah, he's come through a greater setup. Like, like the A League, anyone that can go through the A League and then push further is obviously the best option, the best possible outcome in Australia that you can do. So he's come through very well. He looks very talented. He's a hardworking kid. Looks honest and he looks like a humble kid. So he looks like he's just gonna grab this opportunity with both hands. And yeah, it'd be great to see him make it through to the national team and the Bayern Munich first team as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think now would probably be a good time to talk. Let's talk about Premier League.
Oh yeah, okay. Let's talk about
let's talk about the season that's coming ahead.
Should be exciting as always. Should be very exciting. Pre-season European tours and whatnot of the Manchester Cities. And I watched the other day Manchester City and Chelsea's highlight, and it was 4-0. I ended up a 4-2. I'm a Chelsea supporter, like I've told you. Yeah, so I don't know what to make of it. Like you lose 4-2 against Manchester City. You're thinking that's not too bad, but then when you watch the game, we actually had more chances than them, but they were just more clinical than us.
Yeah, okay. I haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah.
I did see Haaland sort of answered back to his critics.
Oh, a hat trick in pre-season, just Haaland doing what Haaland does,
Yeah.
Banging in goals for fun, I guess.
Yeah. I hate it when I hate how quick the critics jump on players. Like, he goes through like a game or two without scoring and all of a sudden they're like, oh, he's lost it and he's not the same player anymore. Like, how they used to do with Messi and Ronaldo? Like, those dudes have broken so many freaking records. Just leave them alone. Like, let them do it.
Well, you see, that's the thing, with football. Like, football and other sports, the critics in football, it's not just, say, for example, take basketball, for example. You might get only criticized in one country or by one set of fans, your set of fans. Not in football. Football is the world's game, so it's watched at every corner, every part of the world. So the critics come from every angle. It might not necessarily be the same person repeating themselves over and over again. It could be one day, it could be someone in Perth, it could be someone in Africa, it could be someone in South America, it could be someone in Europe. So football players are always going to get criticized. I think they know that. But yeah, you're right. Like Haaland, like what he's done in the 2 seasons he's been with the Manchester City. I don't think anyone has the right to really criticize him.
So do I think this hammers at home again, like the mentality of these players. Like you just talked about how you moved to Montenegro, right? Yeah. So these guys have done very similar. So they've moved to countries, they've had the sort of like similar experience, and they get the critics at that level. Man, like the mindset of these blokes,
should be studied. Incredible. It should be studied. Like, like I'm telling you, like you've got players living Brazil at age 15, 16. Well, now they've before FIFA put in this rule saying you can't leave your country until you're 18.
Yeah.
I remember players like Denilson, they were leaving Brazil and going to Arsenal age 15. You got players living, forget about moving states. These guys are moving continents.
Yeah.
In a country they've never been before. They've got no family members. They don't speak their language. So, then they go through all that process and coming through the academy. Like Vinicius, for example, left Brazil, go to to go to Spain,
Yeah.
live there, and adapt to life over there. Even though Spanish and Portuguese are very similar, but still, it's still gonna be a cultural shock. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah.
their mentality is it's something that's just it's very they're strong mentally. They're prepared for it. They're willing to sacrifice and do whatever it takes, put in the hard work, and yeah, I really admire them.
I have noticed like clubs seem to sign. So if they're going to sign someone from a nationality, they seem to sign a bunch. So like yeah, like Real Madrid's a good example actually. Like so they've got a few Brazilians at the club, so
Yeah,
it feels like a create that little like family,
environment.
like
Yeah,
the environment, the
yeah.
family. So when they bring Endrick, for an example,
He's already got one or two other
he's got
Brazilian
Vinny
mates
there,
there.
he's
Yeah,
got Rodrigo there,
yeah,
he's got a few guys already there that can
hmm
sort of show him the ropes, and
yeah, for sure.
John Marcelo pops down there every now
Yeah,
and then.
well, I mean, when you talk about Real Madrid, the amount of Brazilian legends they've had, I mean, you can go through the list. You got Ronaldo, Roberto Carlos. They've had, Batista, and then they've had who else? They've got Vini now, Rodrigo, Endrick has come through. So yeah, they've always got a great collection of Brazilian, like absolutely talented, world class players always come through. So
Yeah,
you can sort of see like when Madrid scouts, when a player is really making a name for themselves in Brazil, you can always like as a fan, you have an understanding that Madrid has first dibs on them.
yeah,
You like for example, even with Endrick, when Endrick was making all that, he was really building his fan base and really performing in the Brazilian league. Chelsea came in for him, Bayern
mm,
Munich came in for him,
yep,
Arsenal went in for him, but we all knew he was gonna go to Madrid.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
said to my mates, you don't get a player when Madrid wants it. You're better off looking for another one. So
How's them getting Mbappe now?
yeah, oh my god, like how is that gonna work? Like if luckily the one thing though, if there's one coach that can put them all together and get the result, is the coach I got now, Carlo Ancelotti. In my
Mm,
opinion, is the greatest coach of his generation. So that is your Guardiola, that's your Ancelotti, that's your
oh
Tuchel,
wow,
that's your who else you want to put in there. You can throw Jose Mourinho in there. I put him above all of them. Yeah,
yeah, wow.
I rate him.
That's interesting. I feel like there's like a few different things there. So like for me, Guardiola's like tactically is a monster,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
the way he sets the game up, interprets it, and just plays the game. Like it's just insane. It's beautiful. Mourinho, I've got like a everyone's out on Mourinho. I feel like everyone's gone on like a bit of hate trip on him because he's like
I love Mourinho, man.
anti-football and stuff.
I love
Me too,
Mourinho.
me too. And do you know why? Because like people seem to forget real quickly. Like the things that he did at Porto to win a Champions League with Porto
That won't
was
be done
was
for a
absolutely
long, long
insane.
time.
And then he went to Chelsea, and like at that
First
time,
year.
like Chelsea was sort of like
Yeah, we were a nobody, really.
yeah,
We were a
and
nobody.
yeah, and then he built Terry's career and Lampard's career. Like
Brought in the Drogba's, your SCNs, your
yeah,
Petr yeah. I mean, Jose Mourinho he's my favorite coach. I believe that Ancelotti is the best out of all of them. And like you said, tactically, I don't think anyone sees or thinks about the game like Guardiola. He's in a
mm,
whole other, like in a whole other planet, the way he thinks and visualizes the game. Nobody, no coach in the world. That's why you've got so many clones now. You got the
yeah,
Chelsea new coach.
yep,
He's a clone of Guardiola. And you got your Arsenal coach. They're all trying to mimic him, but no one comes close to him. No one.
yeah, yeah. That's spot on. Ancelotti feels like the dad, like a really good dad, like of the club and sort of arm around the shoulder of
Yeah.
everyone. I think like Rudiger had a good chat about him. There was an
Okay.
interview where Rudiger was talking about his signing for Real Madrid,
Okay.
and he said that Carlo Ancelotti came around his house, like he got at the airport, they landed and got set up in the house,
Yeah.
and Ancelotti like knocked on the door that night,
True.
and he reckons he came in and he started like bought wine, bought presents for everyone.
Sounds like Carlo.
And he said he sat down, he had dinner with us for ages, for all night, and he couldn't stop talking and
He's
stuff
a
like that. And he goes,
legend.
he didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do
No.
that. But he came around and he does those things, and
Mhm.
that's, the players love that.
Yeah,
and
for
you're going to
sure.
get that trust.
Yeah.
And
It builds that
gotta work
chemistry.
harder for him.
Yeah, it builds that chemistry. When a coach does that for a player, when that player then thinks about it, what they want to do like is give 10 times more for that particular coach.
yeah,
Never want to let that coach down. They'll show up to training an hour early, leave an hour late, put in that extra yard. Come game day, they're putting their life, they're sacrificing their body, putting everything on the line just to make sure they get that win for that coach.
yeah,
So yeah, Ancelotti, like even at Chelsea, I mean, when you coached us at Chelsea, I remember when he came to Chelsea, I think it was in 2010. There was a year he came in. Oh my God, that was the best football we've ever played in
yeah,
the history of Chelsea.
yeah, I
We
agree.
did, unfortunately, we never made it. We never got the Champions League, but there was a year we did the FA Cup and the Premier League,
Yep.
and we ended up scoring something like 100 goals. got like 90 points, and we were just, oh man, free flowing football, scoring. We were bashing teams 8-1, 6-0, 5-0. Game was over before it even started.
Yeah.
So yeah, from then I had fond memories of Carlo, and me being my age, I even remember him at AC Milan when he was coaching Kaká, Yosedov, and yeah, when they won the Champions League, beating Man United in a semi-final at Old Trafford. Oh man, yeah, Carlos, yeah, is definitely like I said, he's the best of his generation. The way he does things, he's not as he's not as he obviously is very tactical, but his tactics are a bit more relaxed. Gives you a bit more freedom to be able to express yourself.
Yeah,
Right,
100%.
it's more so his man management skills that are above every one of them. I
Yep.
think his man management skill is above that of your Guardiola and your Mourinho.
Yeah.
Mourinho is the motivator. He will get you so pumped up. You would put your life on the line for him.
Yep.
You know, I think I've even heard John Terry say that. He goes, Mourinho will motivate you to a point where you feel disappointed in yourself if you let him down. So they've all got their own different attributes and strengths and skills, you know. But those three there, yeah.
Have you heard the story about Mourinho in the washing basket?
No.
Oh, dude, it was like I think it was a semi-final or something like that of the Champions League.
Yeah.
And he was red carded, so he wasn't able to turn up for that match.
Okay.
And apparently he hid in a washing basket or a laundry basket, and like the team kit man brought the basket into the changing room, so no one knew that Mourinho was in the ground. And then Mourinho pops out to talk to the boys and rev them up for the game.
Jose's a rascal, man. I'm telling you, Jose Mourinho, he's got some amazing stories, man.
Yeah,
he's a great coach.
Yeah, and do you know, he seems like actually a good guy.
He is, yeah.
The stories, like when you see players talking about him privately and stuff like that, like
everyone
he sounds like a really good guy.
Yeah, they respect him. He's straightforward. I mean, you got all he's coached some of the biggest names in world football. He's coached. You talk about your Cristiano Ronaldos of this world, your Didier Drogba's, your Frank Lampard, John Terry, Petr Cech,
big personalities.
Mesut Ozil, you know, he went to Inter Milan. He coached Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's coached Samuel Eto'o, Diego Milito, and all of them just have that admiration for him. You know, all of them talk so highly of him and respect them. And Jose is not someone that's going to beat around the bush. He's very honest, very straightforward. I mean, recently I heard him say, he came out with a quote, and this is the ones making the rounds. He was saying something about FIFA needing to do something to stop African players from like playing for other countries, for example. You know.
All right.
So,
what's your thoughts?
Yeah, if I was to weigh in on that, what I say is, if a player has not spent minimum 10 to say FIFA, say for example, I'm not a lawmaker, but I reckon if you haven't spent 10 plus years in that country or 15 years in that country, and I'm not talking about like from the day you were there and to the time you left, I'm talking about living in that country. So you have to have accumulated at least 10 years in that country.
Yeah.
In that country, whether that's been in the academy and coming through, then that should be the only way where you'd qualify to play for the national team. Aside of that, it should be for your country of birth.
Yeah.
And what that will do is, I mean, could you imagine if all those players in France, for example, say, whether it's I know I got no right to be talking about other people and their choices, but I'm just saying in a hypothetical sense, if you have like your N'Golo Kante playing for Mali, for example, and then you have your Mbappe playing for your Cameroon, for example.
Yes.
Could you imagine the quality
of the African?
The African teams, how high they'll go. And it's funny, in the World Cup, South America has won the World Cup plenty of times. It's Europe. I think they're the only two continents that have won it, eh?
Yeah.
Asian, we've never had an Asian winner.
No.
We've never had an African winner. So yeah, you know, for football to really grow, and it's already the most dominant sport in the world, but I think there's still levels you can go to that will bring that passion back into it, because that's what we love about football, you know, that passion that people, if you can remember when the World Cup was here in Australia, I was saying to my friends, in Australia here, no other sport can unite this country like football was doing. Like when the Matildas were playing in the World Cup.
Man, that was surreal, hey?
That was surreal. Like I was at home cheering them on, and then you watch on TV and you look at the Fed Square in Melbourne or in
Incredible
Sydney,
scenes.
And people were coming out in thousands in the droves. Only football possesses the power to unite a nation like that.
Yeah.
Only football. So yeah, it should be something that FIFA should definitely look into. And over in Africa, I mean, like when a national team wins a game, oh my God, the whole country comes out in celebration.
Yeah.
The whole country comes out.
Dude, I was actually saying in the last episode with Dylan that like we've both been to a World Cup. I went to one in Brazil.
Oh wow.
And man, like like the passion, like the atmosphere, and kids not like,
electric.
so in the World Cup how
Yeah.
like you got one day like 3 teams will play in the group stage, and then the next day a different set of teams will play. Well, like in Brazil, I'd wake up and then the whole city, whichever city you're in, like Sao Paulo, Rio, whatever, it would change color.
Yeah.
So say if Germany's playing that day, it's all white.
It is the biggest religion in the world. I tell people that, but they laugh at me. Football is an actual religion. It's the biggest following in the whole world.
Yeah.
Nothing comes close to it. It's amazing, eh?
Yeah, I agree.
It
100%.
is amazing. I hope someday in Australia here we get a chance to host a men's World Cup.
Yeah,
That
me
would
too.
be like, because we got robbed in the Qatar when Qatar got that World Cup. That should have been in an Australian World
Yep.
Cup. So hopefully one day we get a chance here and this country can experience something like that, because I'm telling you, man, I've seen when I was over in Montenegro, we went to a Red Star versus Partizan game.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm telling you, you will never see anything like that.
Yeah.
The atmosphere, shops are shut down.
Flares?
Flares. That's like flares are nothing. The flares, you see them, they start lighting flares from out in the streets. They go on they match to the stadium, and I'm talking like 30,000 people marching, singing. The atmosphere is electric. You get into the stadium, and the whole ground is shaking for like 2 hours. 90 minutes before the game, 90 minutes after. It's just chants, cheering nonstop. It is something that, it's great experience. Great experience.
I got to see Manchester United play Liverpool.
Oh, yeah.
And at Anfield, and honestly, man, when they were singing "You Never Walk Alone" and like just the build up to the game, like honestly, I've been to a few AFL games, but they just don't understand like the once, and a lot of guys I know that are AFL supporters, if they go over to England or something like that and they do like a working year or something like that over there, they get converted.
Yeah,
they 100% every time they end up having a team, and they're like, oh my god, I'm a Chelsea supporter now, or like once you feel it, man, like the match day, the fans, the chanting when it's all singing together, and it's like
electric.
Yeah,
it's so good. Like, I mean, like AFL is a sport that's played in Australia, for example. It's WA, Victoria, Melbourne. I mean, Sydney and Adelaide. They're the only ones with teams, And you're talking about maybe you might have only the big clubs, for example. The big clubs will get you your 60, 70,000, fill it up at MCG on a weekly basis. In football, you've got your club supporters, and then if you think that's not enough, when the national team goes and play, all those club supporters are all supporting the one nation. And then you got your Germans going up against the Dutch, or the English and the Spanish in the European Championship final. So you can it's just levels. Football is levels above every and any other sport. Nothing comes close. The gap between football and second is larger than the gap between second and whoever is last, even. I'd say, for sure. Nothing comes close to football. Nothing.
Yeah, I agree. So, how's Chelsea going to go this year?
I'm always optimistic about Chelsea. I mean, I have been. I'm going to. Last 3 years haven't been the best. Again, we're going through a transitional period, and we've got a new coach in again. So he's going to start from level 1, put in the groundworks. He's got a bit of a Guardiola style about him. The one thing I have to say, the one thing that's really irritating me about this new football, modern day football, it's how every coach that seems to come in is like got a new style. It's a gimmick now. Everyone's coming up, all right, I want to play possession style football. I thought the aim of the game was to win.
Yeah.
Didn't Jose, if Mourinho taught us anything, it's win first and then worry about a style and flares after.
Okay.
Fergie spent 20 odd years in Man United, and all he ever concentrated on was to win.
Yeah.
Winning looks after everything. It sorts everything out. I mean, I watched us play against Man City, for example, 2 days ago, and you got a centre back trying to pass to a midfielder, the defensive midfielder, when he's got 2 men on him. I'm thinking, what? Did I miss something? Did the memo go out where you can't clear the ball upfield anymore?
Yeah.
Or you can't just pump one ball down the line and then, take away relief pressure from yourself. It seems like every club, and nothing irritates me more like when I watch Premier League, when you got a club like your Fulhams, for example, or the lower end teams with low quality players, and they're trying to play out the back.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? You're setting yourself off. But back to Chelsea. I hope we make top 4 at least this year. If not, I don't know how much more of this I can take.
Yeah. I'm heaps confused. Like $1 billion spent or whatever it is now. It's probably $2 billion.
Probably.
but I can't really see like real superstars out of that money spent. Like I can't see players there that I was like, oh yeah, like
No,
every club was vying for that guy.
no. We've got. I would say we've got one, definitely one. We'll have two, but the other one he wasn't. He wasn't. Well, we've got a few, not superstars, but we've got Cole Palmer.
Yeah,
Cole
and
Palmer.
No one expected that one. That was kind of
that was
came out of
the blue.
nowhere.
Yeah, that was the one that no one really had been there hoped on.
Yeah, but it's not like for how much money they've spent. It's not like they've signed players that other players are like, damn, I didn't get him.
No. Well, put it this way: as bad as we are, there's always Man United that makes us look better. That's the only thing I can say. United fans, you can never come at a Chelsea fan because you've spent double as much of us, and you are still worse than us. So, no matter how bad we are, I can always say we've got United to make us look good. So, yeah. You can always pin your hope on that. So yeah, but you're right though. I mean, we signed Mikhailo Modric. I don't think he's gonna cut it at Chelsea.
Oh, Modric, yeah.
I don't think he's gonna cut it. Then we've got went and signed Enzo. We signed Enzo Fernandez, Moise Caicedo. Those two alone cost $250 million or euros, whatever the currency they were using.
Yes, they did.
And they don't seem to work together.
No,
they don't seem. They're both great players. Don't get me wrong.
Confusing partnership.
Yeah, it's a confusing partnership because Caicedo, when Enzo got injured towards the end of last year, Caicedo really stepped. Because Caicedo is the sort of player he wants to be everywhere. He's energetic. He's got the leg to get around, and really he can affect the game in all facets of the game. He can defend and then set up play and then go into the box and try to score. But
he's got that bit of Kante about him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. He's got that Kante sort of flair about him. And you've got Enzo, who's more like he wants to control the tempo of the game.
Yeah,
he wants to slow it down. He wants to be able to pick passes out. So those two just don't really. Somehow the partnership hasn't worked. I don't know if it's the scouts that didn't know what sort of. I mean, it's hard to really pick a style and stick with it when you've got coaches coming in every year.
Yeah.
That's not really helping us either.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, optimistic again this year. I'm praying. I think this year, if I had to say pick a winner, you'd be hard pressed to go against Man City.
Oh yeah, man! Like, they've been so dominant for so long now, and I
think Guardiola's turned the league into a farmers' league. If there was one thing the Premier League used to be all about, is like this is not a farmers' league. You can have anyone come up and win it. But the last 4 years, they've just been sweeping everyone off the floor. I hope Arsenal can really. I think Arsenal is the dark horse. Like the way they're going about, they've built the last 2 years. I think they would be the favourites to challenge City if City was to drop off.
We need it. Like it's getting
to a point boring now.
It's really frustrating that we're turning up every season
and you already know who's going to win it. Yeah, so I'm hoping Arsenal can really step it up this year. And as a Chelsea fan, it kills me to say that I hope Arsenal wins it, but at the end of the day, I have to be realistic. They got a better squad than us. They're more settled than us. They know that they've got the system. They've got better quality player than us. Even though we've spent $1 billion or two, however we've spent, they still got better players than us. So I think Arsenal, this might be their year this year in the Premier League. Yeah, I'm really seeing that.
Yeah, let's hope so.
You Arsenal supporter?
No, I just want to change. I'm just sick of seeing Man City do it every year.
I'm over Man City, man.
And like last year, I kind of got my hopes up. I was like, here we go, Arsenal's gonna.
Arsenal do what Arsenal does: build your hope up to let you down. No, but this year they signed a player in Riccardo Calafiori. He's an Italian defender.
He looked good in that Euros, man.
He's class, man.
Yeah,
he's class. He's the player they've been missing. I think when they signed Zinchenko the season before, they thought they were getting that player that's gonna really come in and like stake a claim and never be benched, but he couldn't really do that. I think Zinchenko can give you. He's not the sort of player that can play 30, 40 games in a year.
But seems on and off, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's on and off. Yeah, but this new guy, Ricardo, he's only young, but he's already looking like a world-class player.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they've got that left-sided sorted, and yeah, I think they had the best defensive record last year or the second best. So, if they build on that, I can really see him being the one to dethrone Man City.
Yep.
And the rest of us will just have to fight for third and fourth. But it should be interesting again. Yeah, Premier League, I mean, it's the greatest show on earth. Yeah. In my opinion, it's the most entertaining league still in the world, even though we know Man City is going to win it, but still the most entertaining league in the world.
Yeah. I don't mind the German league these days. Like they throw up a good game. Like Leverkusen's season last season.
Oh, that was amazing.
Dude, how good was it?
That was amazing. Watching Xavi Alonso go through that, I was cheering them on every single game. Yeah,
Yeah,
they had Bayern Munich had a monopoly on the league there for what was it, 10 years?
yeah.
What about the Harry Kane curse? Surely that's a thing.
Oh, dude.
Surely that's a
now
thing.
it has to be a thing. Like
Surely.
you can sort of be like, oh, you know, Tottenham, but he literally went to Bayern Munich, who was like guaranteed the title,
Oh my god!
and didn't win the title.
That
So
was I said to my cousin, like, he's a huge Harry Kane fan. He loves him. I don't know what about Harry Kane loves. He goes, oh, bro, he's world class. So when Harry Kane made the move to Bayern, and then I said to him, like, just jokingly, I said, bro, what if Harry Kane goes to Bayern and he doesn't win the league? He goes, nah, Bayern always wins the league. He was telling me a stat. Apparently, Kingsley Coman hadn't lost a league title in like 8 years or something.
that's right. Yeah.
Kingsley Coman, when Juventus, when PSG went to Bayern, everywhere he's won the league. Every year he's won the league.
Yeah.
Until Harry Kane came.
Kane.
The Kane goes strike them.
Oh no.
So yeah, I mean, man, I really feel for Harry Kane. I don't know. And then you watch him in the Euro final. I'm thinking, like, I was supporting England in the Euro final. Cole Palmer, obviously, like he's star boy. So anyway, he plays, we're supporting him. So when they were playing and then they missed it and Spain got them, I was thinking, yeah, this is definitely a thing now.
Yeah.
2 finals.
Yeah. I'm glad Spain won that because Spain had a tough group, really hard games to get there.
They beat France.
And man, the way they
Germany.
played was just really good as well.
Dominated,
So good to
in
watch.
that final. Like, that's, in my opinion, Rodri in this current moment,
Dude,
he's the best player on this planet.
a few of us have mentioned that, like in previous episodes.
Yeah.
Like Rodri,
He deserves the Ballon d'Or. He has to get the Ballon d'Or now.
you reckon? Yeah.
Yeah. I think he was really, in that final, it was between him and Bellingham. Because I thought Bellingham was ahead of Vinicius, because everyone carries on about what Vini did. But don't forget, when Vini was injured for like 2 or 3 months, it was Bellingham that carried Madrid.
Yeah.
Bellingham single-handedly carried Madrid until Vini came back, and then Vini took over and whatnot. So if Bellingham would have won the Euros, then he would have won the Ballon d'Or. But Rodri, man, what a season is that. He had the FIFA Club World Cup, European Super Cup. He wins the European Championship. He wins the Premier League.
Yeah.
He's the best player in the European Championship.
Yeah, someone mentioned that he's won more trophies than lost games this season. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And how many games he's played? He's played in like 6-7 different competition.
Yeah.
So for you to do that, yeah, in my opinion, he's the best midfielder in the world. That's easily, hands down. No one comes close. No one even comes close. But I think he's above that. I think he is the best player in the world at this current moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a good shout. I mean, yeah, I get Vinny was like really like conclusive, or he decided that semi-final and the quarterfinal of the Champions League. He decided a few big games there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Which you can give him votes for that, but consistently,
and not only
Rodri
that,
to me is the one. Yeah,
consistently, and not only that, you have to take in consideration that Vinny was injured for the 2 months, and if Bellingham wasn't there, they wouldn't have won that the Premier League. La Liga. They wouldn't have won La Liga.
Yeah.
So Bellingham really stepped up in Vinny's absence. So you got to then take away points from Vinny for that as well, and then give it to Bellingham. So, and obviously watching Bellingham go up against Rodri. I mean, Rodri just bossed that final, didn't he?
Oh, dude. He got injured though. Yeah. And they brought in the Real Sociedad.
Yeah.
That's the thing in Spain's model. Like that guy that they brought in, he's a centre back for Real Sociedad.
Okay.
Yeah. So they Rodri went off. They brought in a centre back, and they didn't miss a beat. Like
someone was saying they've won the under-19 championship, won the under-21 championship. Now they've won the seniors championship.
Man, they got them all, and all the women's teams as well.
The women won the World Cup.
Yeah,
they're a machine. They're factory-produced world-class players in Spain.
Actually, England won the Euros, but yeah, they are, man. Like
they're
I don't know. It's just
factory producing them at the moment. Yeah, man. Yeah. So like Premier League. Who would you say would be not a long shot, but like someone that you could see that could throw up a challenge? What about Liverpool, for example? Would you see them?
I don't think so. I think this year they're going to drop off a bit. I've
seen their preseason. They look sharp.
Yeah, I hear you there, but I think the change from Jurgen Klopp, who he had the fans, the whole club, like all the staff and stuff like that. Like he's so well loved.
Yeah,
I feel like there's going to be a hangover.
You think?
Yeah, just because the loss of someone so big, like a Ferguson.
I understand you. But the thing is, one thing about Liverpool, their support never waver, you know?
Oh,
Their
yeah,
support, they
yeah.
get behind whichever manager. I mean, when Kenny Dalglish was there, even when Brendan Rodgers was there, you can see that club is well supported. Like, they're going to get behind that coach. They're going to cheer him on and support him in every way possible they can. I
Yeah,
could actually, and with their squad as well, when I looked at their squad depth, if they were to make, say, if they signed a defensive mid, who I think is what they're missing,
yes,
you got Salah, he's gonna bang in 20 goals.
yes.
You got Darwin Nunes, he's 1 year, like, I think he's gonna come good.
I think so as well.
I think
Hey,
Darwin Nunes is due for a big season.
he's like Haaland, just a little bit more rough. Like if he sharpens up his like shooting and stuff like that, like he's got that physical power and like he's got that game.
Games. He can decide those big games on his own.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem far off.
Nah, Sazbalas.
Oh yeah, that does. Yeah, he's got some game.
That's what I mean. Like, everyone's sleeping on Liverpool. But
Gakpo, man. Gakpo was like hidden last season, and it seems every tournament he turns up and does, top goal scorer last Euros.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I mean, I think Arsenal's the favorite to dethrone Man City, but I would not be surprised if Liverpool. But then Liverpool has to make a defensive mid signing. They just don't have anyone in that position.
Yeah, they've got that Endo.
Yeah, Endo is not good enough to see him through a season.
Not world class.
He's not world class. He's not someone that you're going to play. Yeah, you're not going to play him against Rodri. You're not going to go play him against even your Caicedo, for example. He will look. He'll be found out very quickly.
Yeah.
But in those big games, if they can pinch one or two of those big games, because they look after those little teams quite easily. Even when they handle Man United, I mean, Man United is a small team now, in my opinion, anyway. Liverpool's like quite handle them quite easily in the preseason. I think if anyone's going to drop this year, it'll be United. I could literally see United going as low as 10th this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, man.
I honestly don't see, like, who have they signed? They signed that kid from Bologna, the striker, Ezeki.
Oh, yeah. He's still raw as hell, man.
He's young. He's going to need 2-3 seasons before he come good.
That's right,
and what they finished last year, 8th. I think they could go as low as 10th. Oh, it'll be fun to watch if they did that. Oh,
yeah, I feel like you guys will come on stronger than them.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I don't know. They need that Martinez, Lissandro Martinez.
Yeah,
he has to be injury free. I think for them to do well.
And they went and signed that young kid Lenny Yero. He's injured. He's out for 3 months.
Dude, how's that?
That's what I'm saying. So now then they can't go into the season with the defenders they got now. They have to go out and get another one.
Yeah.
Or else if United start the league, say the first 3 games, they somehow lose 2, draw 1, win 1. I think the coach will be gone. I think he could be the first one.
It won't take long. No. He's really on the road.
Yeah, he's on the edge right now.
Because that was the worst ever league position they've had ever since the Premier League's
been around. That. Yeah, it's like the worst campaign season in the last, someone was saying 60 years or 30. I forgot the exact numbers, but some long...
And he got a new contract.
They gave him a new contract.
Yeah, they gave him a new contract, man.
Wow. And how
do you get rewarded for the worst ever position the club's ever been?
See, I can actually... As crazy as this sounds, this is my take on that, yeah? You don't really want to go down the route of Chelsea. What have we achieved with sacking all these coaches? Yep. We're still struggling. So if anything, you want continuation.
Yeah, I agree.
You want that stability and then be able to build on whatever you've got, Yeah. Give them another season, maybe, and then next year, and then reassess. And then whoever you bring in, give them at least 2-3 seasons. Don't be like Chelsea. Give a coach 1 year. He wins the last 4 or 5 games of the year, and then he still gets the sack.
Yeah, and I think it's quite proven now that Manchester United's problems are pretty deep.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of roles there that's gone wrong. The clubs, like that, the Waterfall, Old Trafford, man, that's insane, eh? Like one of the biggest stadiums in England, and like one of the biggest clubs in the world. And they got...
I heard they're gonna knock it down. I think they're gonna go through with the knocking down of it and redeveloping it and building a new stadium there. But that will take another 3, 4, 5 years before that gets done.
Yeah.
And with I mean, just goes to show, wow, like, imagine how good. Now I say to my mates, like, just think about how big a stat, like what's currently happening to United, how much more you have to really give props to Sir Alex Ferguson. Like, to being able to win 13 leagues with some players, like, he never went out and bought an $80 million player.
Yeah,
he never went out. He won the league with players like,
but they still had more money than most other clubs.
Yeah, but that was only because he wasn't spending it. Who would
No,
have?
no, like he still bought some players. There was
Yeah.
still like Veron in for 60 million and like Van Persie and stuff
Van
like that. There
Persie
was still
cost
a
like
few.
I think Van Persie cost was it 25 or 30 mil?
Yeah,
Hey, Van
I think
Persie-
in that time, that era, that was still
Yeah,
pretty good.
Okay, good. All right,
Yeah.
fair enough. But put it that way, okay?
Like Ferdinand, Rio Ferdinand, 50
Ferdinand-
million, the highest, most expensive defender of all time.
Yeah, he signed Ferdinand, but not only was he signing these players, every one of those signings he did, he won with them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He won with them,
Yeah.
and not only that, he was making.
You can't argue
No.
Sir Alex.
You're like, you've got coaches now. Chelsea spent $1 billion. We can't even finish in the top 4. Man
That's
United,
insane, isn't
Man
it?
United has spent double that. They can't. Even, they won't even get close to the top 4 this year.
Yeah.
Honestly, like they've gone and signed Sancho, Pogba, Casemiro. Who else they signed? Anthony. I mean, who signs Anthony? Seriously,
Oh, dude,
he has to be. All right, here's a question for you. Now, give me your 5 or give me your 3 worst signings in Premier League era that you witnessed or know of.
Anthony's definitely there.
He's up there.
Even that like
You know
spinning top trick that he does,
Oh,
like
my
it's just
God.
pointless.
That
and everyone's
has
just
to
like,
be the most pointless.
did you see
move
that
in-
highlight of him doing it and the ball goes out?
Oh my God!
It's just it's embarrassing.
Anthony's there.
So him, Pogba's next on my list just
You
because how much they spent, man.
True.
And you know they sold him for free.
Mhm.
to Juventus,
and then
they brought him back for the
80 million.
most like
then
price
lose-
transfer ever, and then he's
lose
just
on free.
absolutely done. Like that's like the worst business of all
No,
time.
but then the thing is, I'll kick back on that.
I'm not gonna. He's got good technique. He's
Yeah.
got good skills and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But he
okay.
didn't really.
No,
he
no,
didn't,
no, yeah,
like,
100%.
for how much they spent.
I think there are worse signings than him though, because in
Mm.
Pogba's case, he still somehow won the European. He won the Europa League with Man United. So in his time there, and he won an FA Cup as well.
Yeah,
So you can sort of give him
Man
a little.
United had like $1 billion team playing in the Europa League.
Yeah, fair enough too. Yeah, fair
You know,
enough.
like-
Yeah, so you expect them to win.
I think like I remember looking at the games they're playing against, and like Dutch, not even Dutch teams, man. Like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like what's that team? Like
teams from Cyprus.
Yeah,
teams
man.
from,
Yeah, like,
I know
you-
what you mean.
you
They're-
see him like playing against them, and like the budget difference and the play. Yeah,
One player there could
And-
be cost more than the whole squad of the opposition.
Yeah, and then they make the final, have to play like Fiorentina or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
I
like-
remember. Yeah, but they still want to. I mean, would you say Pogba is a worse signing than Lukaku? I think, in my opinion, Romelu Lukaku is the worst signing in Premier League history.
Really?
Yeah.
For every team? Because he went to West Brom
Yeah.
and scored 17 goals.
So when he went to West Brom, when he was young, he got loaned out there, and then he came back, and then he went to
Everton?
Man United. Man United. Or you got him from Everton, yeah?
Yeah.
So he went to Everton, had a good season. That was still on loan,
Mm.
and then we sold him to Man United. Shocking, absolutely shocking. He was never at that level,
Yeah.
and then he left
I think he still scored a few goals.
at United.
Yeah.
but he wasn't
I
gonna-
know what you mean.
he
He
was-
wasn't like you
He
did.
was never going to lead the line and be the man that.
Yeah,
goes
because you know
down.
he's like Belgium's all-time top goal
I
scorer.
heard
So,
that.
like he still actually got quite a few
heard
goals
that.
under
His
his
stats
belt.
are real good. Like, but
Yeah.
then you watch. I've seen Lukaku touch a ball, and he is horrendous.
The first touch, man.
He
I
is
don't understand how
horrendous.
he's where he is with that first touch.
Because he's just a poacher in the box. Like
He's big.
He's big. He will lean on you. He will bully you physically. He's physically imposing.
Yeah,
That's his
he's
game.
rapid for his size.
Yeah, he moves very quick. He can hold the ball up, but his touch and his IQ, I don't think is there. He's
Yeah.
not well. And then when he left United for Chelsea to then go back and get him, that has to be the worst business in Premier League history. Not only did we sign him for nearly 100 million euros, he didn't even play. We couldn't even play him for more than 5 games. Had to loan him out and pay his wage to be at another club.
That was pretty messy. Yeah,
That is the worst.
Madrid might be heading in that direction because what was he? He was like 90 mil or
I
something.
think
wasn't
Modric, if he's not careful, he'll be up on that list very soon.
he? Yeah,
Because he is not going to cut it at Chelsea.
yeah,
He's got pace. He's like a modern day version of Theo Walcott.
yeah,
Too quick for his own good.
yeah.
You know,
too
he's
far front.
his feet are quicker than his brain. He gets to a point and he's like, "Oh, what do I do now?" He doesn't even know
Yeah.
himself what to do next.
Yeah, that's true. Other worst signings. I want to come up with some good ones now.
Oh, okay. Worst signings. Who in recent history? Who would be put up there? Arsenal's got a lot, but luckily for
yeah,
them,
Arsenal do have a lot.
Arsenal's got heaps. I can name you two.
Daniel Sturridge.
Daniel Sturridge.
Man, he just didn't do anything, did he?
When you
He
went
had
to
one
Liverpool,
season. Yeah, one season good at Liverpool,
yeah,
and then that was it.
yeah,
It was done.
The
Yeah.
injuries, yeah. Daniel Sturridge was injuries. I don't think he was so much that he was a bad player. I think he was injured.
Yeah.
A bad player that got signed. What about Arsenal's got a few. They had a player named Sebastian Squalecci. He was a centre back. Then they had another player called. He was a Brazilian. I remember they signed him from France. What was his name? Something Silva or something. He was a left-footed player, left back. He was horrendous. Harry Maguire, the big fridge.
I've actually listed quite a few Man United ones.
Harry Maguire, wow, what a player!
I'm putting that as one on the list.
The thing is, though,
his highlight reels.
I think
it's hilarious.
We have to. At this point, I feel like Harry Maguire, man. On a shout out to Harry Maguire. His mental strength is unmatched. For you to have copped the amount of abuse that he's copped and still be out there going out giving it his all. Honestly, I
reckon he's got like Tony Robbins working with him full time, eh? He's got Tony Robbins in there just giving him the power. And Oprah Winfrey on weekends.
He is unreal. Like the amount of abuse he's copped. Even there was a point in time his mother had to come out to try and put it Harry Maguire. I've seen him going for it was a corner and Pogba was going to head of the ball and he stomped him in his head and cut Pogba open.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. But you see him warming up before the game. He was doing those like
the back heel,
and he did it at Pogba,
and he got Pogba with it. Oh, dude, Harry Maguire, all right, he is up there. Oh, he's probably number one. We'll give him number one easily.
He's getting number one for sure.
Oh, Harry, eh?
Oh man, I'd like to see another sort of Leicester kind of thing happen. I don't think that will ever happen again.
I think we'll get those once every 30 or so years.
Yeah, maybe.
That was another Arsenal choked the league that year. That was the year they should have won it.
Yeah. Do you know what's an interesting team? Newcastle. Like they had that big buyout where this like the Saudi Arabian country have basically bought them, and like you expect like gigantic signings and stuff after that, but we're not seeing anything.
Well, the thing is, they had that. What really stuffed them over, is in terms of money in football. All these clubs got money, let's be honest. You got your Man City got money, Chelsea's got money, Arsenal's got money, Liverpool's got money.
Yeah.
And Tottenham's got money.
Yeah.
So if you don't make that top four, you don't get Champions League, the best players are not going to come to your club. Because all those other clubs can afford to pay those players. Yeah. So I think what really stuffed Newcastle up was they made the top four 1 year and they didn't back it up with another top four finish. So that's why they missed out on this. Because if you finish in the top four 2 years in a row, that's when the big players they get attracted to your club and they want to come play for you. And I think that's what's up. But Newcastle, they're a very interesting team. I heard that they want to sell Anthony Gordon. They want to sell him. And I heard Alexander Isak, he wants to go to Arsenal.
He looks good, man.
He's class, man.
I like him,
He's class, man. He's a prime smooth mover, man.
I seen an interview, I think it might have been Ben Foster or someone was talking about him. And they heard that the goalkeeper, Nick Pope, that's who we're talking about. He reckons his shot power is insane. Like he goes, I've never seen anything like this guy.
And his placement as well. And he's like, his tendency to just never overdo it.
Yeah.
Like he's so mature, he's so calm under the highest of pressures. And he's just, and Newcastle, if you're banging in that much goal in Newcastle, imagine if he was to go to an Arsenal.
Yeah.
He'd double his output.
Man.
He could easily double his output. I think if Arsenal was the sort of club that was very ambitious, the fact that they've built for so long, they are so close, and the only thing they're missing now is that guaranteed striker.
Yeah, 100%.
I'll go out and break the bank. Give Newcastle 100 million. Yeah. They can't turn that down.
Yep.
Get Isak off them at all costs.
Yeah, because then it's done. That team looks complete.
Then that's complete. Because you got Declan Rice, you got Thomas Partey,
Odegaard.
Odegaard's class.
What a player!
What a player, man.
Yeah.
Now they're going to San Calafiori. They got that's William Saliba.
How good is he?
Absolute class of a centre back.
Yeah,
absolute class. Then they've got the keeper situation sorted. So if Arsenal was a really ambitious club, they will go out and sign Isak.
Yeah.
And that will guarantee, I can almost say that is 90% guaranteed to win the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely. There's talk of Osimhen going to Chelsea.
Yeah, I heard that too. And
that'd be a good purchase.
It would be very good. The thing is with Chelsea though, I mean, how many players have we seen come to Chelsea and fail?
Yeah,
especially up front.
Yeah.
We've had Torres come, we've had Shevchenko come, Mateo Kezman back in the days. We had Kezman come, we had Hernan Crespo come.
Yeah,
we've got so many players come and they just don't do it. The last
Shevchenko. That was a flop, by the way.
Big flop. Like the thing is with Shevchenko, Jose Mourinho never really wanted to sign him. I heard
Oh,
that it wasn't Mourinho never really wanted to sign him. It was Abramovich. He was just gifting good players to him. His when you looked at the way Shevchenko played, you can
mm,
sort of see back then he wasn't going to adapt to the Premier League. If you
yeah.
really looked at him hard, his style suited that. Italian football is very organized.
Mm,
There's nothing shocking about it. You're not going to see counter attacking.
yep.
And in the Premier League, if you're going to have a striker, you need them to be on their toes because
Yeah, they gotta be mobile.
everything's coming at you at 150 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, it's
And
lightning.
Shevchenko is more of he knows how to time his move. Stay on side, get that slip ball in behind the defender. Play up on the line, and that's sort of Shevchenko's game.
Yeah, he slides into those little spaces,
those
the
little
shoulders.
spots. Yeah, he's playing off the last defender's shoulder, so that's how he moves. And in the Premier League, yeah, you're not gonna cut it doing that.
Yeah.
Defenders are not. They will kick you before you even start running. You would have been. Yeah, nah, it's too physical.
I just thought of a new one. Robinho.
For Man City.
Yeah. Dude, that was a bad one.
Oh,
He didn't even think he was going there.
yeah,
he thought he was going to
gonna-
United.
Did he? Was it United?
He thought he was
yeah.
going to United,
I
but he
heard
went to Man City.
Yeah,
His agent got confused him.
true. Hey, Robinho, what a player he was, but
Yeah.
Man City. I mean, they're dominating now, but yeah, last 7 to 10 years, they've signed some really world class players, man.
Yeah.
I remember Robinho. I actually remember him at Madrid more so than Man City. But yeah, when he was in Madrid,
That's how bad he was.
Yeah, yeah. I guess he didn't do much at Man City, so there's not much to remember. So yeah,
Yeah.
you put that up there for sure. Yeah,
Yep.
I
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we'll go through some short fire questions.
okay.
So favorite player.
My favorite player. Can I give you two?
Yeah.
Favorite player of all time is Zidane.
Dude, that's mine.
Hey.
And another guy, like Dylan asked that as well. Man, he's so good at it.
Oh, I'll tell you what. You put Messi and Zidane. I'm picking Zidane day in, day out, every single day of the week. Messi is, in my opinion, Zidane is better than Messi. That's just my personal opinion.
Wow.
Forget stats. Zidane brought a joy to the game that up till now no one's ever been able to replicate. I've never seen anyone be able to control a game of football like Zidane does.
Yeah.
I've seen this guy play against Brazil that had your Gilberto Silva, your Ronaldinho, your Ronaldo, your Lucio.
We're literally talking about this on the last
your
episode.
Roberto Carlos. And guess who was the man of the match? And guess who controlled the game? You don't have players that can do that anymore. Zidane is above all of them.
He looked like he made time stop in that game. Like he was still moving and everyone else was frozen.
Exactly.
Like it was.
I mean, players of that generation. Even another one. You remember playing him, Juan Roman Riquelme?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, the way they just control game and just you couldn't press them. You could forget like nowadays you run out of play and they're already confused. They want to just give the ball away.
Yeah.
They're scared of touching the ball. They don't have tight ball control in tight spaces. But Zidane, it's no point. You can send 5 men at him. He'll beat all 5 of them and make you look very silly.
Yeah.
So I've got Zidane, and my next favorite player was Ronaldinho.
Oh well, yeah, okay.
Ronaldinho as well.
Man, I love how a friend of mine actually met him in Brazil.
Wow.
So they were out on the street and they were like drinking at bars and stuff like that. And apparently he just walked out of one of the bars with a ball, juggling, drinking, and smiling.
He's a party
like
animal.
just as he was walking around the street with the ball, just juggling the whole time. He reckons the ball didn't drop.
Yeah, party animal. He loves the life. He loves his nightlife. Even I was listening to another episode of Rio Ferdinand's podcast, and he had Kevin Prince Boateng on, and Boateng was saying when he went to AC Milan, Ronaldinho used to call him up in the evening.
Oh, I heard
Yeah, Ronaldinho used to call him up in the evening like 2 in the morning. Hey, what are you doing? Come to the clubs. And this is like they got training the next day. And Kevin Prince is like, no, I can't. My missus is here. He's like, I tell you, missus, you're coming to save me or you're coming to do something with me. And Ronaldinho, man, he just loves that life.
You're coming to save me.
You come. Yeah, tell her that you're
I'm in hospital.
Yeah, I'm at the hospital. Come save me or something. I need you to come drive something. Oh, yeah. Ronaldinho, he loves the life. And what a player he was. I mean, we don't have that sort of entertainment value in football anymore. That's gone on.
Yeah, I feel like Vinny's sort of heading in that direction. You don't think he's there?
No.
I just, it's the smile. Like Ronaldinho, he's so iconic with the big smile, and he's murdering you on the pitch, and he's smiling.
I think footballers for sure. That's 100% right. But the way like maybe it's just those players like obviously you're not going to see them again, but those players like they were like the way they moved and like played and the way because what football is in sport in general. Sport is in general. This is what I got told from a young age. Every player has 2 hands. You got 2 feet. You've all got the same physical attribute. But it's how you think of the game that you will try to execute.
Yeah.
So maybe the players nowadays, they just don't have the IQ of the game as much as those players did. Like
Yeah.
like your Vinny, for example, his take-ons, he's quick, he's rapid, but he's not going to have more complete take-ons than your Ronaldinho, and in an era where players were literally hacking players that try to take him on.
Yes. So that I think is a big point, is like that era.
Oh.
If you were tricky like Ronaldinho,
Imagine how,
man, you're putting your life on the line.
Your leg every day. Imagine how much knocks you would have cost.
Gattuso trying to take him out.
Imagine trying to go past Gattuso. It's either you or the ball. One has to stay back. One is not making it to the end of the line. Yeah. And players like that nowadays, you'll be charged as a criminal. That's a criminal offense if you start hacking players like that. So yeah, I don't think the players have the IQ of those others, like your Zidane and your Ronaldinho. It's just I see him. I put them at a level. And the big Ronaldo, original Ronaldo. They're in a, because I saw them all play from a young age coming up. Those were the players I used to look up to, and just the way they play, no one can replicate what they do now. And yeah, I just have them. I hold them in a stead that I don't think anyone can ever get to.
The league of their own.
Day.
Yeah, that's good. If you could have a superpower, what superpower would you have?
If I could have a superpower, I would choose to fly. Really?
Yeah? A few people want to fly.
Yeah.
Where would you fly?
I just fly all around the world.
Everywhere?
Everywhere. I'd go to Brazil. I'd go to whenever. I'll just be flying to every event.
Yeah.
Like the Euros, for example. I'd fly to the Euros and just go watch it.
Yeah.
I'd fly to the Olympics and go watch that. Like I wouldn't need to book a flight and worry about staying at a hotel. I know I could just get up and fly and then watch it for the moment and fly back and come in and do whatever else I need doing. So yeah, I'll choose to fly for sure.
Yeah, nice one. Pasta or pizza?
I would say pasta.
Pasta? What's
Yeah.
your go-to?
I don't like carbonara, not really. I like what do you call the meatball?
A spaghetti bolognese?
Yeah, spag bowl. I like spag bowl, yeah.
Yeah.
Carbonara, yeah, if I have to. I'm not really a fan of white pasta, like white sauce.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Okay, if you played a sport other than football, what would it have been?
If I was to play a sport other than football, what other sport would I have played? Well, my favorite sport outside of football is basketball, but I don't think I was ever going to play that. I'm not tall enough, nor am I good enough. But yeah, if I could play another sport, I think I would have definitely loved to have played basketball.
Yeah, nice. Have you ever been to a game?
About NBA game? I've been to NBL games. I've been to like Perth Wildcats games.
Yeah.
And it's electric too, man.
Dude, I've heard the crowd's really, really good in those games.
It's rowdy, man. They go hard. Like they cheer on the Perth Wildcats. Go to Wildcats, man. Like, yeah, Perth Wildcats for sure. That's my team. Like, love them.
Yeah, cool. I think we already know the answer to this one. So, which team do you think will win the Premier League this year?
No, I'm gonna look stupid, but I'm always gonna say Chelsea. The thing is, deep down in my heart, I actually believe we're gonna win it. But then I got told, don't. This is what someone told me. Don't bet with your heart, bet with your mind.
Yeah.
But the more I think about it, like watching us against Man City, the more I realize just how far off we are the place.
Right. Yeah.
But I think Chelsea will win it. If not, then you go Arsenal, and yeah, Man City could definitely do it again and just make the league look like a joke.
Yeah, they gotta stop. Someone's gotta stop them, please.
The FA needs to charge them with all those 142 charges they got or something.
Yeah, what is going on with
those? Man, it seems like they're getting away with murder. Just charge them, man. We're tired of them winning the league all the year.
Yeah.
Force them to sell 2 or 3 of their players, whether it's Haaland and De Bruyne or Haaland and Rodri. Force them to sell 2 and make the league a bit more fairer. It's just getting ridiculous now, man.
Yes,
seriously.
Exactly.
To a point like it is.
Messi or Ronaldo? Last question.
Messi. Yeah, but I respect Ronaldo. Nothing against Ronaldo. I love Ronaldo, but not just Messi. Yeah. You see it, you know it, you just can't deny it.
Yeah. That's 5 to Messi, 0 to Ronaldo so far.
I should have been the one to go for Ronaldo.
You could have been the one.
Should have told me, listen, I've got 6 people so far.
No.
Everyone's going for Messi. But yeah, Messi, it's Messi. Like it's Messi.
Yeah, it's hard to deny his ability, that's for sure.
In any other era, Ronaldo would be the greatest.
Yeah, I agree.
Just so happened to be he came in an era where Messi was alive.
Yeah. His timing was wrong.
Very wrong. Very wrong.
Yeah.
That's
All
great.
right, yeah. That's all from us.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Abdul.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Craig.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Hey team, I just wanted to summarize some key points from today's episode. Abdul highlighted like the cost of that state team setup, really like basically phasing him out of the team. I think that's quite interesting, and something that we need to think about in Australia is like the cost of playing and how much it's costing us to provide our kids with the ability to play. When we're paying top dollar for them to play for the top teams and then the camps, the academies, all of this is racking up. And some families have 2, 3, 4 children, and if you're playing for each one, we're really probably missing out on a lot of talent there, and especially like families that maybe not be as well set up and coming from a lower socioeconomic background. They're doing it tough, and are we really providing them the platform to become the top players that they could potentially be? I don't think so. And in Abdul's case, he kind of missed out on a crucial moment of his childhood and a potential pathway for him to go further. Another thing we discussed was how hard it was for him to adapt overseas. I think that was really interesting, and Abdul opened up to us on about him not being able to drive or being able to move anywhere freely and not being able to speak the language. Obviously, that's an obvious one, and that would be pretty difficult. But like he said, the game itself is kind of universal. So when he was out there training and playing, it was all good. But then he said how he wasn't even making the bench for a long time. He managed to get a couple of games on the field, and then got taken back off again. And I can see how like all of that would affect a player mentally, and be really difficult for someone to situate themselves in that atmosphere or that area without having their family around them, the friends that they've built, being in a place they're not familiar with really. And how it would take a really, really strong mentality of a player to be able to get through that. Yeah, so I can see how that would be really difficult, and I can sort of see why he came home. And I guess that points out, like how difficult it would be to get your family over there to support you. But having a good family network, like it was really good of his mother to be calling him regularly every day and checking in on him and talking to him and trying to see him through it. But yeah, I can see how that'd be really, really hard on a player. I guess we could possibly learn a few things from Abdul's journey. Maybe our young athletes, or for parents of a young child that's thinking of making that jump, maybe they can have a think about sort of choosing a country or pathway where they speak the language or are somewhat familiar with it. If we've already got family over there, perhaps, and we can get family around them. Yeah, maybe that's going to help them, nurture them through and get them through that difficult challenge and the struggle that sort of Abdul went through.
That's all for today, guys. You can follow The Football Nutritionist on Instagram and X, and jump onto our blog at thefootballnutritionist.wordpress.com. Remember, keep fueling for success and kicking those goals.